Q Talks with Liz Bailey. Our access to audio programmes are sponsored by Impact Funding Partners, the R.S. McDonald Charitable Trust and the Suter Charitable Trust. To find out more about how to access our services, visit CueAndReview.com or email aaatl@CueAndReview.com. This programme was produced and presented by our Access to Audio Ambassador team leader, Liz Bailey, and edited by our Recruitment Training Officer, Alistair McPhee. Hello and welcome to another edition of Q Talks with Liz Bailey. Obviously, I'm not Liz Bailey, I'm Alistair McPhee, the Recruitment Training Officer, and I'm joined today by Claire Miller. Good afternoon, Claire. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very well indeed, and I'm looking forward to finding out a bit more about what you yourself do. What is it that you're actually an author, aren't you? What is it you do?
Yes, I am. I'm a published author of 3 children's books. In 2016, I got the opportunity to get my book published, and I had my writing dreams come true. I had a dream on my bucket list that I could have a book published, and I published a book called Pure Human City, which occasionally I go like that and go, oh, it's all mine.
You achieved it.
It's an amazing feeling, getting your own book in your own hand. After that, I have had that time experience of working with children in the local primary school, creating a story with them where we created the character's background, all about what the story was, and then I got the children to draw pictures for me, and I put a book together, and then I took, if you imagine this, I took the book up to the school, so each child got the story that the group had created. And I wanted to give children who were outside of school environment the opportunity to have as much fun as I'd seen the children that I'd been working with. So I created a book called I Can Create Stories. And in this book, children can read, draw, create, and listen to stories. Because I recorded an audiobook. I didn't want children to be disadvantaged because for whatever reason they didn't actually like reading. Mm-hmm. Then I discovered that when I went to the library with my books, because the library do buy books from you, that they didn't want I Can Create Stories because they didn't want children to actually draw in the book. Because what you can do here is you've got a page of text and then there's a page there, so children can create their own pictures. So what I did was I published another wee book called I Can Create Stories Story Edition, which has all the stories from I Can Create Stories in it, with links to my website where there are activity sheets where children can create their own stories. So I've been doing that, and then I was working with the local writing group, running writing workshops, and it's all kind of taken off since then.
Fantastic. I mean, obviously, as CueAndReview prints Speaking to the Blind, what I'm going to centre on there is the fact you did say you did an audiobook. How did you find the process of doing an audiobook?
A little scary, because I'd never done it before. When I created I Can Create Story and got it all published, I said, right, first of all, I'm going to do the book and do the stories. So I'd done that. Then I'm going, right, I need a website. I'd never done that before. And I need an audiobook. I hadn't done that before either. It was kind of like totally new process. So what I discovered was that having been singing in a choir for 24 years, that the whole idea of having diction and clear speech all came to the fore. So everything I'd learned when I'd been singing actually came through when I was doing the audiobook. So yeah, and it's really exciting, and also I now know what I sound like because I recorded the audiobook.
And I must admit, I mean, I still dine out on the fact that I used to record my mother when there was the radio cassette players back in the 80s. I used to hide my cassette player behind the settee to record my mum, and my mum had a Sunday voice or her telephone voice. But when I played back, I literally got chased around the garden for playing back, you know, how she actually sounds in the house. Yeah. And I think we're all very conscious of when we use a microphone that we maybe slow our speech down, and we maybe don't use certain phraseologies we would normally use. But did you I mean, did you enjoy the process of recording it? Did you enjoy was it a studio you went to, or did you record it yourself?
Yes, I went to a studio and I had the experience of, I had headphones on so I could hear myself speak whilst I was recording,
Yeah, I
which
know
is
what
weird.
you're coming. Yes, you've
It,
got that wee delay. Yes.
it's just like totally different from anything I've ever done before. Yeah, as I say, because I'd been singing in a choir, and because when you sing you have to overemphasize everything, and I knew that from when I had been working with children in workshops, that you speak slower,
Yes.
you regulate your voice. You're not quite so quick as you would be in regular conversation. So, yes, it was a totally new experience.
I think one of the other things for us is that at CueAndReview, Print Speaking to the Blinds, what we do is on a daily basis is read newspapers, and we've actually had journalists that have come out to the studios to write articles about us, and we always make them read their own article.
Uh-huh.
And there was one famous columnist who I won't name today. I normally do, but I won't name her today. But she actually went into the smallest studio, read her own article, came out sheet white, simply because she had had to read words that had been written to be read with the eyes, not read with the ears, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah.
And there is most definitely a skill, and it's how you present an audiobook is bound to be very different to how you would be reading it if you were just reading for enjoyment. So again, I take it you were quite delighted when you got through the whole process, and have you had much success with the audio version of the book?
I am not sure if I had any success. I haven't had any feedback from people who have bought the book, because what happens is you buy I Can Create Stories, then you read the book, you read one of the stories, you get an answer to the question, which is on my website.
You were saying there that you had developed Serena the Penguin as an opportunity to guide the reader through the book. How did that all come about?
Oh God, well, yes, that's a really interesting story. I have ambitions to actually be a fantastic artist, but they're kind of here, and what goes on the paper doesn't necessarily match what I had in my head. So this is Serena the Penguin here. And Serena the Penguin is the guide in the book I Can Create Stories, because I wanted children to have a guide, because my inner child was going, but words are boring. I really do need a guide through the book. And I was talking, and my daughter said to me, well, do you know, Mum, it's dead easy. And my daughter is really talented. So she went away and she did this. And she went, how about that? And I went, fantastic, that's great. Could you give her feet and colour? So that's how the character came about. And my daughter's credited in the beginning of I Can Create Stories as the creator of Serena the Penguin.
And in the audio version, do you have an equivalent of Serena when you're going through the audio version, or is it just a straight read of the story itself?
It's a straight read of the story along with a piece of music at the beginning of the sort of the audiobook's got music here and music here, and then in between there's another piece of music, so that I can say, right, when you hear this music, what you need to do is go away and get a piece of paper and something to draw with, and you can create your own story, so that the audiobook can be paused, so the child can actually listen to the story, draw the picture. So there's still a very, hopefully, interactive creative element to the audiobook.
Do you go to get access to the book itself? And the audiobook, obviously.
Yes, if you go to my website, which is www.clairemillerauthor.co.uk, you will find the information on my books, and Serena has her own page, and if you go to Serena's page, having read I Can Create Stories, you can put in your answer and then you can get the audio files.
Fantastic. Now, you also mentioned there that you were, when we were talking earlier, that you are involved in various writers groups in the area. Do you find that quite a fulfilling experience?
Yes, I love writing with other people. You get lots of different ideas and different takes on, say you were talking, going to write about the colour red. if that was given as an idea. Everyone comes up with something totally different, and also it's company when you write, because when you write on your own, you're on your own, but if you write with other people, it adds an element of fun.
And during lockdown, have the writers groups been keeping going?
Well, during the summer we're normally off, so we kept in touch sort of via phone at that time, and we've just restarted back up on Zoom calls.
Fantastic. Well, as I say, Claire, I really appreciate you taking part in today's call. Give yourself one more plug. What's the web address again?
My website is www.clairemillerauthor.co.uk, and if you want to just even look for Pure Human City in the search bar, or I Can Create Stories, you'll get that link as well.
And obviously, as you're now going to be one of our audio ambassadors, Claire, and be spreading the word about how CueAndReview records all the newspapers that we do every day, the Herald, the Evening Times, the National. By going to CueAndReview.com/promotion, you'll be able to basically encourage people that you meet to take part in the service and to benefit from the service. And obviously, in return for doing that, I'm pleased to be able to say we will be including your website on our website as one of the links, because obviously the fact that you're doing an audiobook is something that we are absolutely delighted about, because obviously it does mean that visually impaired young people and reading impaired young people can obviously access your book as well, which is great news. So basically, Claire Miller, local author, thank you very much for joining us in Q Talks today, and hopefully the muse will take you this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Q Talks with Liz Bailey. Our access to audio programmes are sponsored by Impact Funding Partners, the R.S. McDonald Charitable Trust and the Suter Charitable Trust. To find out more about how to access our services, visit CueAndReview.com or email aaatl@CueAndReview.com. This programme was produced and presented by our Access to Audio Ambassador team leader, Liz Bailey, and edited by our Recruitment Training Officer, Alistair McPhee.